Alright guys, going back to this same graph that we have, let's just cover a couple more things. First thing, I want to determine what the domain is for my function right here, f of x. What is going to be my domain? So what could we say here? Remember, domain we're talking about in respect, right, to the x-axis. Right, so I'm going to say here domain, okay, for f of x. What is that going to be? Well, an easy way to do this is to take a vertical line, okay, and keep going anywhere about on the x-axis. If you draw a vertical line and it hits that function, that means it's going to be part of the domain. So we can see here, right, this goes all the way to negative infinity, right? So no matter where I draw the vertical line, it will hit. Same thing over here, this function is extending to positive infinity, right? So eventually, even if I draw a vertical line over here, it will eventually hit that function. So we can say here our domain for this function right here is going to be all real numbers. Okay, well how about the range? What about our range? What is that going to be? Well, just like we drew a vertical line when we're trying to find the domain, when you're trying to find the range, draw a horizontal line. So for example, if I were to draw a horizontal line at -4 here, I would hit this function, g of x, right? But that's not the one we're trying to find. We're trying to find f of x. So let's go up here and draw one at 4. If I drew this line in, right, at 4, I would eventually hit this function. Okay, same thing, if I drew a horizontal line at 1, I would hit this function, meaning it's part of the range. Okay, but what happens when I draw a horizontal line at 0? Well, it won't hit the function, right? Because that horizontal line is serving as our horizontal asymptote. Remember, it's getting closer and closer and closer to it without actually touching it. So, what we can say here, our range here is going to be all numbers greater than 0. So we can say y has to be greater than 0. Okay, so y has to be greater than 0, right? I can go to 0.00001 and draw a horizontal line and it will hit it. But if I'm at 0, right, it's not part of the range. Okay, so we have our domain and range for f of x. Well, let's find the domain and range for g of x. So looking at the domain here, what is that going to be? Again, draw a vertical line for the domain. Again, no matter where I draw that vertical line, I'm going to hit g of x. So, just like f of x, it's going to be all real numbers. How about the range? Well, again, g of x has a horizontal asymptote at 0 as well. Okay? However, unlike here where it had to be all numbers greater than 0, in this case, right, since it's extending down to negative infinity, right, it's going to be all numbers less than 0 is going to be part of our range here. So we're going to say all numbers less than 0, right? Again, I can go all the way down and draw a horizontal line, it will eventually hit that. But if I go to 0, right, it's not going to be part of the range or anywhere above that, right? So here is our domain and range for g of x, okay? And that's it.